Hi, good afternoon. My name is Iván Alejandro González Dávila. I am the group 006 of the subject of Jose teacher Jose Santiago Reina Carrion of the Matter English Level 1, and I will continue with my presentation of my oral exam. Thank you. Let's go. China is a country presentation of this image. Country choices. Why did you choose this country? Because this country is too interesting for me. Also, the origin of my sport comes from the China, and for finish, I like the culture and discipline of this society. Most representative, most representative things. Of most representative things is the giant palaces, Chinese dragons, and the Chinese New Year. And other is the Chinese lives. More representative things are the Lantern Festival, the Chinese Wall, and the Xinjiang, and for finish this part, the Chinese Kung Fu. Typical customs. Hanfu. Traditionally, hanfu consists of the robe of the jacket worn on the upper garment with a skirt commonly worn as the lower garment. In addition to clothing, hanfu also includes several forms of accessories such as hairwear, footwear, belts, jewelry such as jade pendants, and the handle fans. Nowadays, the hanfu is gaining recognition of the traditional clothing of the Han ethnic group and experiences a growing fashion revival among young Han Chinese people on the China and the overseas Chinese diaspora. Of a logo image of this clothing in men's and women's. Sunshine Suite. The modern Chinese tunic suited style of the male attire originally found Chinese of the Sunshine Suite, simplified Chinese, traditional China of Pinyin Songshan Shan after the publication later Sun Yat-sun Shan. Sun Yat-sen introduction of the style of the shortly after the founding of the Republic of China has a form of national dress with distinct political overtones. He based the suit on the Japanese cadet uniform. The four pockets are decided to represent of the four virtues of the property, justice, honesty, and shame, and of the five buttons of the branches of China's government: executive, legislative, judicial, and examination control. Image of this weather. Sunshine. Although the name the jacket in English and Chinese suggests an origin during of the less reference to the time period of the Chinese story. It was actually intended by the singers to mean a Chinese outfit. In fact, Sunshine is a basicity of the Chinese style for dress in the late Qing dynasty. The origin of the term Sunshine also has tasted export to domestic sales. Foreigners call Chinatown and San People Street, and naturally can Chinese clothing "Sanshang". In southern China had among of the China diaspora dialects, later Cantonese refers to ethnic Chinese as opposed to the Chinese national as Tan people rather than Han. In this south has sometimes translated the Chinese jacket. Image of this jacket or this wearing typical of China. Cheongsam. The cheongsam, also known as the "qipao", is close-fitting dress of the originated in 1090 20th century Shanghai. It quickly became of the fashion phenomenon that was adopted by movie stars and sculptors alike. The history of this iconic garment reflects the rise of the modern Chinese woman in the 20th century. The story of the Cheongsam starts with the overthrow of the Qing dynasty and the founding in the Republic of China in 1012. In the mid of 1010th century and early 1020th century, Chinese intellectuals began of the revolt against traditional values, calling instead of the democratic and egalitarian society based on Western standards, including of the emancipation of education of women. Image of this dress in women. Gastronomy. On the right of the one's presentation of the dish China, the first is the Pekingese dogs of Peking duck. It is one of the most internationally known dishes of Chinese cuisine and also one of the most popular the Chinese restaurants in Western countries. It is originally from the capital of China, Beijing, although it is typical dish of the cuisine of the intra-northeast of the country. The second dish is the wonton soup. Wonton soup is a standard of Chinese cuisine and made from seasoned chicken broth with fillet wontons. Wontons are the Asian equivalent of the ravioli of tortellini when they are folded around the spice and meat mixture. This recipe calls off the ground pork of the foundation of the filling because its rich flavor and the meaty texture. The third dish is tofu mapo. Popular Chinese platter for Sichuan province is a consist of tofu on spicy sauce, typically of thin oily, bright red suspension, made from douban, fermented bean and chili pastes, and douchi, fermented black beans, along with maize and meal traditional beer. The fourth is the spring rolls. The spring rolls are usually eaten during the Spring Festival in mainland China, hence the names. Eating spring rolls is a way to welcome to the arrival of the spring. The golden cylindrical shaped for the represents gold bars with a symbolized wealth. The fifth is the sangi. Sangi is simply just the traditional Chinese rice dish made of glutinous rice stuffed with the different fillings and wrapped with bamboo leaves, or sometimes with red other large glass leaves. They are cooked by streaming or boiling. In the Western world, they are also known as rice dumplings or stick rice dumplings. And the next is Kung Pao chicken. It's a species stir-fried Chinese dish made of beef cubes and chicken peanuts, vegetables, traditionally wild onion only, and chili peppers. The classic dish is Sichuan cuisine originated in the Sichuan province southwestern China and includes Sichuan peppercorns. Although these dishes found throughout China, there are regional variations that is typically less spicy than the Sichuan serving. The seven is Chelsea. Chelsea are folded that resemble Chinese style and have deep cultural significance attachment to the day within China. Chelsea are of the major dishes eaten during the Chinese New Year, also on the entire country and eaten as well round in the northern province. Um, and the next is chow mein. Chow mein are Chinese stir-fried noodles with vegetables and sometimes meat of tofu. The name is a romanization of the Chinese chow mein. The dish is popular throughout the Chinese diaspora and appears on the menus of the most Chinese restaurants abroad. And the last is a method of cooking is hot wu. Hot pot or hot pot, also known as Shaolin steamboat, is a cooking method that originated in China, prepared with a simmering pot of soft stock in a dining table containing a variety of Chinese food and ingredients. The next part is traditions. With a rich history of more than 5,000 years, China enjoys many traditional festivals that you may encounter through China, such as the Spring Festival, Lantern Festival, Tom Shooting Day, Queen Festival, to the Dragon Festival, and Mid-Autumn Day, each with its own significance and features. After learning about them, you will have a more well-rounded appreciation for Chinese culture. The feast tradition is a Chinese New Year. The Spring Festival is one of the most important festivals in the China, which from the first 50 days of the first month on the lunar calendar. In some respects, the Spring Festival is to China, what Christmas to America. About the month 8 of the Spring Festival, people will begin preparation for it, including cleaning house, shopping, and cooking food in anticipation. When celebrating the festival, people will hang red lanterns on doors and let off their firecrackers. Another important part of the Spring Festival is a family reunion as people who live away from home will return home to visit their families. At dinner, the young offer their best wishes and toast at their elder health and happiness. The next is Mid-Autumn Day. Mid-Autumn Day, another traditional festival in China, is celebrated at August 15 on the lunar calendar every year. On the Mid-Autumn Day, the full moon will appear, which symbolizes reunion in a Chinese culture. So the Mid-Autumn Day, they also call it Rainy Festivals, saying Mid-Autumn Day is important festival in the China. There are some traditional customs for this festival. A lot of image of this tradition in China. The next is monk worship. Monk worship is a quiet time honored tradition in China, which could be traced back to the Zhou dynasty in ancient Chinese history. This tradition has been passed down from the generation to generation. In modern times, people usually display monk cakes as with other fruits on the table in the yard. After the monk has eaten the monk cakes, they will return to the table and eat the monk cakes with the family members to pray for health and happiness. The delicately shaped phone cake is a must-have to make in autumn day, which is made of flour filled with the various kinds of fillings like nuts, eggs, beans, and fruits. Saying food the moon symbolizes family reunion and Chinese reunion. Mooncakes are usually round-shaped. That is why eating mooncakes of the mid-autumn day often makes some Chinese feel homesick. The next is a Lantern Festival. Lantern Festival is another important festival in China, which celebrates on the 50th of the first month of the lunar calendar every year. The Lantern Festival marks off the end of the Spring Festival. Folk dance. Another common activity during the festival is exciting folk dance, which is a lion dance or walking of the seats on the lion's dance. Two dancers are raising a large lion of a lion head, in order as the lion's side. The dancers perform coordinated and typical steps and the music of love drums and drums. This folk dance is a typical another in China's Kung Fu in the style of the Nungakwe. Um, as Next is the Dragon Ball racing. Another important activity during this festival is holding Dragon Ball races in honor of the Green Pump Yuchuan. In a Dragon Boat race is a competition initiated between a teams. The one who reaches the final destination is the winner. It was said that the winning team would bring bounty harvest of the happiness of the people of that village. Typically, her team member stands from the boat and beats drum to keep pace for the other team members. A image of this tradition and competition of dragons. The next part is the sightseeing. The sightseeing is the Great Wall of China, the Forbidden City, and the Imperial Palace, Beijing. The Rakota Army Cheyenne, image of each these places or statues of the Cheyenne Army. The next sightseeing is the Sanxi National Forest Park in Hunan and the Summer Palace, Beijing. Advantage to live there. To advantage to live there is one of the advantages country is a white culture, it's white language. It is a relatively cheap depending on the area which you live. They have a wide variety of foods to choose from. It is a much safer country compared to others, and a first-class public transport in excellent condition. The disadvantage. Sorry, the disadvantages are the numerous internet restrictions that exist, having dozens of Chinese versions for apps or websites. To this day, the species population pollution continues to major problem in highly populated cities. The language barrier that exists between Spanish and Chinese. It can be difficult to make friends or acquaintances. And the last disadvantage is the increase in taxes and costs. And this is all in the presentation of Examinora. And thank you for watching. And here, thank you. See you. Bye.